And hello fellow Tanker Space Bandit here with another episode of World of Tanks, and today we are in a tier 10 British heavy tank Chieftain MK6. We're on map Redshire. As you noticed already, there's no RD in play, which is absolutely fantastic, which means we're probably going to have a good game without RD because we don't really have to hide. We can easily use ridgelines on this map to use Chieftain's strong turret armor, and yeah, it should be a solid game. Now this game is going to be quite interesting tactical game, and it's a great example to show you guys of how this map works. And there will be something that the opposition team does later on in the game that will complicate things for us. So early in this match, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to zero line. Since there's no RD, we don't have to worry about hiding. As I mentioned to you earlier, we can use ridge lines in order to fight, and Chieftain is fantastic when it comes to ridge lines. You can utilize that beautiful turret armor and that rate of fire. But before we actually head there, we're gonna stop here and make sure that any of our friendlies are gonna actually go into this area with us, because last thing we want to do is we want to be a couple of tanks fighting through this corridor. And as you know from your games, this corridor, the zero line corridor, is quite busy. It can get quite busy. A lot of opposition tanks like to go there and brawl. Same goes for green tanks. So we're just gonna wait and see. We're just trying to pay attention to see if there's any of the reds poking out. And we're trying to get a count, pretty much. We're trying to figure out how many tanks did opposition send to this area. So I'm gonna wait a little bit here, wait for some spots, maybe put some shells into area F9. And then we're gonna try to see what our friendlies spot and move up into position D0, so we can do some brawling using our gun depression. So as you notice there's a few tanks spotted, and I thought we had enough numbers here in order to carry this fight. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna relocate into position D0 and take it from there. Now there's quite a few enemy tanks here, but I still think we could still do this because we have a couple of E4s over here. There's T95 E6. There's also T57 Heavy. So I was thinking, yeah, we have enough firepower to face these guys and potentially clean this flank, or at least hold. If we can hold here, there's a lot of our friendly tanks that are currently in the middle of the map. So as long as we hold, we should be okay in this match. So we're just gonna poke out. We're not gonna try to overexpose the tank. We're gonna just try to hit the enemy tanks in the turrets, in the weak spots, because since there's so many of them here, I really don't want to lose HP early in the game, so we're gonna try to play it really safe. So a couple of shots into the machine, went in a little bit earlier. We're gonna try to see who's making mistakes, who's overexposing, and try to hit those Capolas as much as we can. We can probably hit this E4, but I really don't want to take the hit right now. He's not looking at me though, so we're gonna try to take that shot, but unfortunately we did not lead it properly. I think it was off, but now we're gonna lead it well, and we still can pen it with premium rounds. Welcome to the new E4. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That tank is ridiculous to pen right now, especially when it's hold down. And you can only see the cupola. I mean, you can still shoot his turret cheek, but a lot of E4 players fire premium APCR rounds, so they could pretty much go through my turret easily with APCR rounds. Anyway, we managed to put a shell into him, into the cupola. And we're gonna try to focus this 53 TP, take him out of the game. Unfortunately, that shot does not come off. And early here, even with premium rounds, I think the gun is gonna troll me a little bit, because there was a couple shots that I thought should have penetrated. Here we trade the shots with E4. He manages to pen us, unfortunately, and we managed to put shell through his cupola. And here, that's what I was talking about. That shot on the 53 TP should have penned, I thought. And this one as well. That's where the gun was trolling me. And sometimes RNG trolls you in a way like this. You guys have to stay patient with it. Don't get frustrated, because if you get frustrated, obviously, yeah, your game will be over sooner than later. So the main thing here is to remain calm and just continue playing your game. Alright, that E4 is wrecking chaos over here. I think I really need to focus that E4, but he's playing it smart. So now the 53 TP overexposes, shows his upper plate, so we're able to put that shell in And now we can move up. Now, I'm gonna make a big mistake here. I actually thought, okay, you could see this, there's a rock in front of me. I actually thought that the E4 didn't have shot at me. I thought that was angling the tank pretty well, and I thought majority of my side was covered by the rock. But E4 manages to overmatch my side, and he hit me just in the back of my side skirt and penetrates me. And that HP would come in handy later on in the game, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, we're gonna put a shell into the machine. We really want to take out that E4 because he's been a pain in our neck. So we're gonna wait until he's not paying attention to us. He fired his gun there, so we should be able to put a couple of shells into him. At least that's what we're gonna try. At least one shell, and then he stopped looking at us, so we will be able to put a second one right in here. Can we? Yes, we can. We take him out of the game. Now we can focus this machine. So we're gonna try to put a shell into his drive wheel, and we do. We track him in place, and now my friendly should be able to feast on him, and we should be able to clean this flank. So even though we were heavily outnumbered on this side of the map, I thought that, yeah, definitely we were heavily outnumbered. We still had, oops, Maus is looking at me from the middle right there. Good thing I was paying attention. Yeah, what I was saying is even though we were heavily outnumbered, we managed to clean this flank quite nicely. And take a look at my results so far. We're sitting at over 4k damage already. We blocked almost 3000, which is quite normal for Chieftain if you actually play it hold down and you play it properly. We lost too much HP, I thought. I thought we misplayed that hit that we took from E4, unfortunately, because we could have used that 800 HP in here in this situation, or whatever it was. I don't remember how much he drained from me. But the key thing here is to get control of the map. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So I keep pushing this flank, because if I can get under this ridgeline over here in front of me, I should be able to have spots across the 1 and 2 lines, as well as I will have shots into the middle of the map where this Maus is. Now that Maus played it interesting. He did not go into the corridor, into the brawling alley. He instead decided to go in the middle and hold the middle of the map. And normally play like this will lose you the game. In this situation, it kind of worked out for him because he was facing mostly tier 8s in there. So all of those tier 8s that were in the middle, they pretty much died, and they were struggling penetrating him over there. But I gotta give it to him, he played it well. It's not usually a position where you want to take your Maus in, but it worked out for him this time around. Anyway, so we spot a couple of TDs over here. There's this tortoise that's sitting in the back. We're gonna try to put some shells into his cupola, but after a buff, it's really hard to penetrate that cupola nowadays. But we managed to squeeze one in. We have to be really wary about this Grill 15. He's sitting on my left hand side. I'm kind of paying attention to him from the corner of my eye, and I don't know how we missed this shot over there. That was crazy. From that distance, Chieftain usually pens, no problem. Usually hits the target, so I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna keep focusing this tortoise. I'm gonna pound this cupola as much as we can. And at this point, I wasn't really moving much here because I thought that my friendlies are actually paying attention to the Maus and they're keeping him busy. But unfortunately, Maus was paying attention to me. And he puts a shell into me and puts me down to pretty much one shot for everything at the moment. Which is not desirable, but it is what it is. Now this Grill is trying to push me. Luckily he hits the ground and we are able to put a shell into him, and our friendlies take him out of the game. Otherwise it would have been game over for me already there. So I have to thank my friendly for paying attention and actually taking him out of the game. But we probably would have reloaded in time anyway in order to kill him. So I think we would still survive this engagement here. So it's looking pretty good right now. There's E4 that just joined me on my left hand side, and he's pushing through the field, which is fine. I'll give him support right here. We're gonna try to keep putting shells into this tortoise, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. We put a shell into his drive wheel. From this angle it's hard to penetrate him because he's hiding his cupola, so all I can do is really hit his drive wheel. I could have tried to go for a lower plate shot over there, but that was very narrow. I didn't know whether that was gonna go in. And over here I'm targeted, so I know that this Deathstar that's sitting in the back is actually looking at me. So I'm just gonna stay and not move. And there, the shell whistles by, and we're able to get away without a scratch. Now we're going to try to focus this Maus. Problem is, I've already used up all of my APCR rounds in engagement on the 0 line, so I'm only stuck with my regular APCR rounds. But even regular APCR rounds on Chieftain are absolutely fantastic, so it should be okay as long as I can get into the side of the Maus somehow. We should be able to put those shells in and pen him. Now, here is the key situation. So, since my E4 moved up to position K4, I was under impression that he's gonna push into K1, or at least push across the ridgeline at K3, spot the Deathstar, and start putting shells into him. At the same time, I noticed that we don't have any presence in the middle because all of the tanks that we had in the middle died, pretty much. And our Grill 15 ran away because he didn't want to face the Maus. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get myself into the middle so that I can present some crossfire. Maybe put some shells into the Maus. Now, the tricky situation here is that Deathstar is sitting somewhere in K1, J1 area, and Maus is currently somewhere in F3, which means Deathstar has shots into the middle of the map, and Maus is spotting. Unfortunately, our E4 made a big boo-boo. Like, that's a big misplay right there. And I have to point it out, because if you're, I guess because he was sitting in that area, K4, he was worried about the Maus. What he should have done is pushed down the edge of the map into position K3, try to spot the Deathstar, put a shell into the Deathstar, and then back off. Most likely Maus wouldn't have shots into him over there, but even if he did, it would be better for him to take a shot from Maus than a shot from Deathstar, because he complicated this match a lot right now and we're in trouble. Now Deathstar has a superb camo. I don't know what this guy has on his tank, but obviously he's optimizing it fully for camo, so there's no way I could have spotted him from position I was in. Now, I don't know what my Grill is doing here. I actually thought he was putting himself in a position where he could shoot from there somewhere, but it looks like he went for a spot. And then, if he went for a spot, I was expecting that he has decent view range and decent camo, right? Why would you be going for a spot if you cannot spot the Deathstar? And that's going to be a problem. I'm going to come to this ridgeline right here to try to support him, but it looks like he got outspotted by a Maus. So he's in a bad situation. He put himself in a crossfire now. That's a really bad play. I would have preferred if he actually stayed back and if we could play it patient. Maybe take some defensive position, bait these guys out from the positions they were in, because they obviously had better positions than we did. So now there's nothing I can do to help him anymore. Like, absolutely nothing. What I'm trying to do, well, there's one thing I could do. I could reposition where I'm repositioning right now, right here. And hopefully I can put some shells into the Maus when he gets spotted, into the top of his turret. And that's what I'm doing right here, so that Deathstar is not going to be able to shoot me, but I'm able to shoot this Maus. So that's what I'm doing. But again, this guy's going to play it smart. He knows that I'm shooting him from the top, so he's going to reposition so that I have no shots at him. In the meantime, our Grill 15 didn't spot the Deathstar. He was spotted. Deathstar puts a big shell into him, and at this point, I'm like, okay, well, this is done. Like, what else can we do over here? Maybe I could have went behind the Maus on the left-hand side right here. Instead of stopping here, I could have went and maybe put some shells into his behind there. But Maus still was on a lot of HP. That was a really difficult play. I would have probably died anyway from that engagement. And then the Deathstar gets spotted. We're going to try to put a shell into his turret. Unfortunately, that bounces. Our Grill 15 dies. And now we're pretty much dead in the water. We're done. We're done. So, I don't know. I mean, was it a misplay on my part? Maybe. Maybe I should have been a little bit more aggressive and maybe approach the Maus from the other side, put shells into him, draw attention. But I would have died, probably, because he would have turned around and tried to face me anyway. Deathstar wasn't spotted for longest time, so I didn't have shots at him. Our Grill 15 went in prematurely. I think it would have been better if he stayed back and we would have maybe tried to hold the ridgeline in the middle. If not, then drop a little bit further where I'm dropping right now and draw these guys out. That would be another good play. And the biggest misplay, I think, was by the E4, because he died. He managed to get himself killed in that position there instead of crossing over K3 and actually spotting Deathstar, maybe putting some shells into him. If I knew that E4 was going to die in such manner, I would have stayed in that position and I would be the one to try to poke the ridgeline and try to hit the Deathstar and possibly take him out of the game. But anyway, I gotta give props to the opposing team. They played really well. They played really well defensively. They held that position well. Maus was doing the right job spotting in the middle, and he's extremely hard to penetrate. So he was able to hold, and Deathstar's Camel allowed him to remain unspotted and, you know, make some key kills at the end of the game. Anyway, we had a fantastic game in the Chieftain. We managed to put up 7.1k damage, some assisted, 3.6k blocked. Beautiful game. Finished with class 1 mastery, but the result was bittersweet as I thought we could have won this game easily. By the way, this game was on my son's account, in case you wondered. Anyway, we finished on top of the team with over 1000 base XP, 7.1k damage. We fired 35 shells, we had 20 penetrations and 7 critical hits. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for now. Until next time, happy tanking, Space Bandit, checking out.